In politics, you can never write off anyone unless they're odd. He is physically and mentally not that fit. The other reason is that he is no longer in grip of power. He is surrounded by a coterie of people around him, politicians and bureaucrats who are basically running him. If JDU doesn't perform in this election, another decade also it may even vanish.
Okay.
So that's this kind of trend you're seeing in others here also, where you partner BJP and then gradually BJP will gobble up the party. You saw that happening in Maharashtra. Lok Janshakti last time won only one seat.
Yeah.
But what it did severely damaged JDU and took away 33 of their seats. Imagine. So it's possible that he may not win so many seats, but he can cause enough harm. And who can he harm? Can he harm Mahagathbandhan or will he harm NDA is a big question.
Hello and welcome. I'm Srinivasan and this is Talking Sense with Srini. Bihar politics is heating up as coalition partners work through the permutations and combinations to finalize the seat sharing arrangements as Election Commission announces poll dates in Bihar. Who really has the edge? Joining us to decode the X factors that could decide the Bihar poll winner is our editor-in-chief, Mr. S. Srinivasan. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Yeah, Vijay, thank you.
So Bihar has always been a battle of alliances, right? If you really see the NDA alliance, it seems to have a broader coalition partners, including the BJP, the JDU, Chirag Paswan's Lok Janshakti Party, Manji and, Kushwaha, sort of gives it a numerical edge, at least when you see it, when compared with the RJD-led opposition. You think that this arithmetic advantage will hold up at the ground level as well?
No, it's not the number of parties which is primarily important. If you look at that, both coalitions, they're essentially two each, one national party, Congress on one side, BJP on the other, RJD on one side and JDU on the other. So these are major players. And then there are other parties like Paswan's LJD, and then you have Manji's party on this side. And then you have on the other side, JMM also there. There is, also CPIML and the CPM. So the left parties actually have demonstrated very well in the 2020 elections. In fact, they got a very good strike rate and they won 16 seats. So, the coalition on paper, I think it's more or less very evenly poised. And let's go to what happened last election, 2020. Right. Both the alliances, NDA and Mahagathbandhan, got 37.2%, exactly, the same number, the vote percentage. Where they differed was the strike rate. Because the BJP with, could have a strike rate of 67.3% that got them 74 seats. And then JDU was kind of in that coalition, a bad performer. They could only get 37.4% votes and get 43 seats. That's why the alliance was more on the basis of what the performance of BJP, and therefore they got overall 125 seats. But if you look at other alliance, RJD did very well. They got over 52% of vote percentage, and they could win more seats actually, 75, one more than BJP, though having lesser vote percentage because they're more concentrated. And Congress badly performed with 27% vote share. They could only get 19 seats. And that's why the gap between the two combinations was nearly about 125, 110. So, 15 seats.
That's right.
And therefore, it was a very close call.
Yeah.
So, the accusation was that, the Congress really couldn't perform, though they had more number of seats. I think those adjustments they are now trying to make. And Rahul Gandhi in this election has tried to play a lead role by going there and talking about a larger issue of overall threat to democracy. And that's the issue he's trying to raise. So this election is pretty important from many ways, many ways. See, all assembly elections, we use the term that is an important election.
That's
but this election is particularly of major significance because of the following reasons. One, Nitish Kumar has been in power in the state for nearly 20 years
That's
now.
right.
And he has changed the dynamics of state politics, because before that it was about social empowerment. Lalu Prasad Yadav,
That's
the
right. Yeah.
architect of RJD, was able to demonstrate that poor farmer's son or a buffalo or cattle grazer's son can become the chief minister.
Yeah.
So he was trying to bring in a certain sense of pride for backward classes. But then here is a catch. It became later a kind of MY combination, just dominated by Yadavs and Muslims, again, what they are considered as forward Muslims, even among Muslims. Within India, even Muslims have a caste breakup. So then the other backwards, they got slightly pushed out, because you see, initially Yadav brought them all under part of his coalition. And then the administration was extremely poor. While he achieved a social empowerment and he could bring backwards to power, what he failed was in administration.
Which is something
And
Nitish Kumar was able to do.
exactly. So his regime was called as Jungle Raj,
Yeah.
because dacoity, ransom, people were actually being held for ransom. All kinds of things used to happen those days. So it was a pretty disastrous regime. But then he still ran government for 15 years.
Yeah.
Between him and his wife, and they faced number of corruption cases.
That's right.
What is one biggest called Chara Gotala, basically fodder scam. Now after that, Nitish managed to give a very good administration, and he was called a Susashan Babu, which means a good governance leader. Sushashan means good governance. So he could manage to build shiny new roads,
Yeah.
bridges, infrastructure, and other things he gave to the state.
But it's still really
And
far from
therefore,
what the state needs. Yeah.
Far, far behind, because the state is really very backward. So he tried all these in these 20 years, but now he's at the fag end of his career. Almost he has reached his twilight. Why? Because what's being said is that he is physically and mentally not that fit. The other reason is that he is no longer in grip of power. He is surrounded by a coterie of people around him, politicians and bureaucrats who are basically running him. That's the charge against him. And those people around him, especially the 4 or 5 people, are facing serious corruption charges. So basically, the anti-incumbency factor of 20 years, and then this image, though I must say Nitish Kumar's personal image still remains intact, but the surroundings around him is what it is causing a major problem. So this is on the one side. Therefore, this election is important because it could be last election for Nitish Kumar as chief minister, and going further, it could be a very difficult election for JDU. If JDU doesn't perform in this election, another decade also it may even vanish.
Okay.
So that's this kind of trend you're seeing in others here also, where you partner BJP and then gradually BJP will gobble up the party. You saw that happening in Maharashtra.
Yeah.
You saw that almost happening in
Odisha as well,
Karnataka.
I think. Biju Janata Dal.
But they are not in alliance now. Then Karnataka, JD is in alliance there, JDS, and now what you see here. So therefore, the socialist movement, which is what, in a way, the fragments of that which was represented by Nitish Kumar, may see an eclipse. Therefore, that's an important election.
Yeah.
The other important thing here is that, though there is no face for BJP here, and so Prime Minister Modi himself is actually kind of coming here.
That's right.
And there is no face for RJD also. And there is no face, RJD, there is a face, but they're not declaring it. The NDA alliance is not able to come out with a face in this election because Nitish Kumar, they're not able to announce him as the chief ministerial candidate yet because of his, like I explained earlier, BJP is no longer keen to promote him. So, therefore, this is a very different election where, you have the two formations almost face to face, but then these other factors add to that. But then the other bigger thing here is what you really could call an X factor is the participation of Prashant Kishore.
That's right, yeah.
former cephalogist, not so much of a cephalogist, election manager.
Yeah.
He is now, after managing for a long time for other political parties,
That's
he
right.
himself has jumped into the fray. And that could really transform because he's been working
And
on the
his
feet.
Padayatra is garnering a lot of momentum in the state.
Exactly. And he has nearly covered more than 2,500 villages.
Yeah.
Nearly 2,600 villages.
Over
He's
600 days,
yeah,
non-stop.
which means nearly 2 years he has been
That's right, yeah.
walking. So it's an amazing feat which he has performed, and then a lot of crowd are gathered. And see the kind of symbolism he is giving. If Lalu represented for social upliftment, social empowerment, if Nitish represented a shiny, infrastructure,
Administrative
urban
leader.
other things, what this guy is bringing is far more, a kind of aspirational thing for young Biharis.
I was just reading a Times of India opinion piece this morning where they said he's a technocrat who's trying to do the populism work. You think that's what he's trying to do?
Yeah, so look, in Indian election, in any third world country, if you don't embrace populism, you cannot win elections.
That's right,
So
yeah.
you have to do that. But he's not in a position. See, populism is more practiced with those who are in power. The Prime Minister could actually practice this very well. Nitish could do that. The number of freebies they've announced. But he's a kind of a challenger. And he has actually he's trying to create something new. His argument is, if both sides have about 30% vote share, he says, remaining who vote for them? Probably for me. That's the kind of pitch he is making. So he is pitching on youngsters, educated, unemployed, and aspirational, those who want to make it big, because he himself is a boy from Buxar who has made big in the world of politics, who could rub shoulders with big people in the country. So that's a kind of an aspirational image he's giving. And he's
But do you
walking.
think he's obviously he's garnering a lot of momentum. No second thoughts about this. But do you think he'll be able to do something electorally, make a dent electorally?
Look, that's very difficult to say. That how much of people who are walking with him finally vote for him is a big question. Normally what happens in Bihar election, as it happens in the rest of India also, the final thing comes round to caste equations.
Yeah.
No, you cannot forget that. And Bihar, certainly, caste equations are very, very important there. So ultimately, it will boil down to that. And Prashant Kishore doesn't represent, he's not pitching any particular caste in that sense, or a particular, a religion in the sense. So he is actually more on the modernization drive. How much of that really have an impact is a question, because ultimately, if it all boils down to, back to caste, then it's a difficult choice. But if he is able to do well, then what would it mean is a transition which has happened from Lalu to Nitish. It's a third transition by PK. Whether he can manage is really a big
But
question.
what if he fails? He is an election manager.
I think
there's
I
an
think
image that he has created for himself,
no,
right?
so here is, if you look at the 2020 election, since the vote share is almost same and such a closely contested election, for instance, the victory margin in 27 seats, Nota vote percentage was more.
Okay.
Okay. Again, 86% people lost their deposit. There are 40 seats last time in 2020 where the margin of victory was less than 2%. So it's a very closely
That's right, yeah.
contested election last time, and this time again it is going to be. In such a contest, when you have a third party or a third force like Prashant Kishore coming in, obviously he could be a big disruptor. So last time, for instance,
he may not be a king, but he could be a kingmaker.
Yeah, so for instance, I'll give an example. Lok Janshakti last time won only one seat.
Yeah.
But what it did severely damaged JDU and took away 33 of their seats. Imagine. So it's possible that he may not win so many seats, but he can cause enough harm. And who can he harm? Can he harm Mahagathbandhan or will he harm NDA is a big question. But if you want me to answer that, I can further go on that.
Yeah,
What does he seem to be doing right now?
Exactly.
He started his campaign. See, he's been walking nearly, like I said, for over 600
days, yeah.
So he started initially by looking at more development, more issues related to rural India, and he was speaking to people. getting their information. So it appeared as if, will he cause a dent to Mahagathbandhan? Because over a period of time, he seemed to have realized that Mahagathbandhan, the caste equation is very tight. Muslims, Yadavs, and some EBCs may go with, certainly they have a perfect vote bank of these two. And since Congress party is there, they may get some upper caste votes also. And then you have CPIML, which has a very good base in Simanchal. All of this, he realized, is pretty difficult to break into. What he is now perhaps doing is, he's raising corruption as an issue. And when he raises corruption as an issue, it strikes at both of them. But what it is harming more right now is
Nitish Kumar.
Nitish Kumar. You know why? Like I said earlier, Nitish is being accused of surrounded by people who are corrupt. For instance, the Deputy CM, Samrat Chaudhary.
Okay.
Now, he held a press conference, Prashant Kishore, and released a lot of, documents and saying, how, labeled him as a corrupt person, somebody who's a murderer. He's a murder accused. And he says that he got out of that because, he supposed to have, he was involved in he was accused in a murder of a Congress leader. And since he was underage, he got a reprieve from the court. And he's a deputy CM, yeah. And again, his, qualification, whether he's a graduate, whether even a matriculate, is a big question. So he's not the only one. The state BJP chief is also facing a similar problem. So basically what Prashant has done is, he has picked up 5 or 6 people in the BJP who perhaps would be core, and attacking them intensely. So this is causing damage. This constant attack is causing damage to NDA. And Nitish is not able to give any answer. And JDU is also not able to say much on this. Because otherwise, it is Nitish who said earlier that anywhere I smell corruption, I'll take immediate action.
That's right.
So therefore, the electorate here must be wondering why he's not able to do anything here. And on the other hand, RJD again are trying to change its image. Tejashwi Yadav is trying to break away from his father, because his father and his mother had a regime which was considered very close to, that's when a lot of dacoity took place. I told you, law and order was completely in a mess. And the domination of Yadavs, the intermediate caste which dominated over other castes. So he is now trying to kind of change that impression and emerge as someone who's more modern. And he is saying that even if there is a shadow of mine which is accused of corruption, I'll take immediate action. That's the kind of explanation he's giving to, gain the support of the electorate and get those votes. So it's going to be pretty interesting if you look at all these
But what you seem to be sort of, letting us know is that there's more trouble for Nitish Kumar, more than the, RJD, the Mahagathbandhan. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. He is facing anti-incumbency, very serious anti-incumbency, and he himself may not be accused of any corruption, but certainly
the coterie that surrounds him,
the Sushashan thing, and on the other side, the Lalu's legacy of Jungle Raj. These both factors are there. So therefore, that's what he is trying. Prashant Kishore is attacking those kinds of things now to get on his side the kind of people who want better governance, who want clean administration, who want growth for the youth. So he's taking that pitch. So this is actually causing a certain kind of a concern in NDA circles also. Because they initially thought, everybody said, oh, Prashant Kishore may be playing a game on behalf of BJP. Yeah. Now it turns out that it could be a different ballgame.
But maybe that's why, Nitish Kumar has come out with this Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana. I think, the Bharatiya Janata Party has tried it in the past, in terms of Ladki Bahin Yojana, Behna Yojana, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Certainly earn them rich dividends. You think this would sort of, dilute the anti-incumbency wave that's popping up in Bihar?
Yeah, so that's an attempt. How much they succeed. So there are two narratives. One is the Congress-led, Rahul Gandhi-led narrative, RJD, which is part of that. Look, that we are on the side of backwards, and not just backwards, extreme backwards. We want their welfare. We are on the side of minorities. We want their welfare. And what this government is trying, with the help of Election Commission, is trying to disenfranchise them. That's why their entire thing of vote chori campaign. That is the kind of narrative which the RJD and Congress alliance, this Mahagabandhan, is trying to build.
Yeah.
And they have other EBC members as a part of that coalition. Now, on the other hand, what is that this side has? Governance. Now, governance is under attack now. The track record of Nitish. Now, Nitish was very unblemished earlier. He's even now personally, but then his government is not so much. It's under cloud now. So they have a difficult problem. So they have gone for the best option of, extreme populism. That's what they're doing it. And, it has worked for Nitish in the past. In the last election, if you look at voter turnout, the overall voter turnout about, I think, 54% or something, average of 55, 56%. But the vote share of women was 5% more than the men. So, which means 5% more women voted in that election. And it is assumed that most of them voted for Nitish party, because you see, he has been constantly working for women welfare, and he has been doing it not just, so what you said currently is for women, what they're giving is,
Yeah.
in the past also, he has done a number of other things. There's something called Jivika Didis, basically sisters. So basically, Jivika means earning, livelihood of sisters. So he had given funds for that. He's given bicycles for girls, and then 50% reservation in panchayat polls. And then biggest demand which women had is imposition of prohibiting liquor, which he did, and women really liked it. So currently also he has given about 1.2 crore women 10,000 rupees each. And this is part of the promises. This is as a self-help group. You can start your own business. And if you do well, there is a promise that you will get 1.90 lakh more. Total package of 2 lakh, which is what they will get. But this is a promise which is just being made on the eve of election. So he is basically banking on a lot of these, election eve announcements. What the opposition is calling rightly, that this is outright, officially sponsored bribery.
Yeah.
And I won't deny that, because, on the eve of elections, suddenly announcing this, because a year ago, they have made a similar announcement that they will give 2 lakh rupees, and they failed to do so. They couldn't.
Yeah.
And now how are they getting money? So basically, this whole thing seems to be largely an announcement. So if you just go backward, what happened is, this entire women thing, welfare thing, actually was started in the whole origin is largely in Madhya Pradesh. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, when he was the chief minister of Madhya Pradesh, he started Grah Lakshmi, or that's a kind of a name of the scheme. And then later it turned out to be another name, which is further improved in Maharashtra.
Ladki Bahin Yojana.
Yeah, so here it was Behan, there it was Bahin in Marathi.
That's right.
So they were given 2,500 rupees, but again, in Maharashtra, it's not been properly implemented. I think I told in the earlier episode also that about 14,000 men got in. So there is a scam there as well. So what has happened is, they have been improving over a period of time. And this time, on the eve of election, 10,000 rupees in the bank account is a big deal. But if you look at the number of women voters, they are far more. The percentage of who they will get is comparatively lesser, but then the message will go. And money is a big incentive during elections. So that is one thing with which NDA is banking upon to turn the tide in its favor.
The Phoebes that you just pointed out seems like, that Nitish Kumar has, picked it from the Tamil Nadu's political playbook. They're quite similar in a way.
No, so Tamil Nadu playbook is pretty old. It's they are actually 3 decades behind. That's what I would say.
The liquor, the cycles, and all that.
So Tamil Nadu has perfected all this. And one additional thing which happens in Tamil Nadu is, on the eve of election, the voters get cash kept on their doorstep. That's an allegation which is being made for a long time, and they do
Cash
receive
for votes,
cash for votes.
Okay. That doesn't happen in Bihar.
Not yet.
Okay.
It hasn't started. You may get sari liquor something, but not yet.
Okay, we also see political pundits writing obituaries for Nitish Kumar. That at this election could be, do or die match for him. What if Nitish loses? And I ask you because on what has happened recently in Odisha as well. So we had Naveen Patnaik, who's been the who was the chief minister for a pretty long time, and he lost it in the last elections, which coincide with the general elections as well. But now you see him coming back. People said that that's the end of Naveen's career, but now you see him coming back again in the state of Odisha. You think similar thing could also happen here in Nitish's case as well?
Look, you can never write off a politician. But in the case of Nitish, slightly different. As I said earlier, it's important for him to win because he's been winning all these. He's always been on the winner of a coalition. More because to save JD, his own party. So therefore, it is the winnability is very important for him. But here there is a difference here because of his poor health, which is what being cited.
The age factor.
Yeah. So both he's 74, but both physically and even
The Prime Minister was 70, 75.
Yeah, but he is much fitter.
That's right. Yeah.
And so from both these accounts, so there is a doubt on his health. So that's a bigger question. Otherwise, Nitish should go on. In politics, you can never write off anyone unless they're out.
Okay. There are lots of surveys going rounds on, online. The most important one is the Sea Voter survey, which has predicted that Tejashwi Yadav is the preferred chief minister, face for Bihar. And but the bigger question is, can he be able to sort of expand the RJD's traditional base of, the Muslims and the Yadav that you were talking about? You think he'll be able to cater to the larger audience now?
Well, that's a very key question. That's the reason why Mahagathbandhan has not announced chief minister yet. That's the basic reason. It's everybody knows. Tomorrow, if Mahagathbandhan comes to power, obviously the chief ministerial candidate is Tejashwi Yadav, and he himself has been saying that. But he is not yet declared as a candidate, and specifically by Rahul Gandhi, who was in a press conference sitting next to him, and he was asked this question and he didn't respond to that. That's because they are worried because of exactly the combination which you mentioned, Yadav plus Muslims and then upper caste Muslims even within that. The worry is for a large electorate of EBCs who are very important now. And the percentage of EBC in this election is about over 36%, whereas the others are only 14%. And they are a solid chunk, and also the, even if you combine MY, it cannot cross the EBCs. So it is important to get the vote of EBCs, and therefore they don't want to send any signal which may annoy them, and therefore they are keeping off the announcing his name as a chief ministerial candidate. That's more a tactical approach, so that that's why they're saying after the election we'll decide who it is. But it is very clear, and therefore I'm not surprised a sea voter coming out and saying of all this, Tejaswi is in the lead, because on this side, it is very clearly it is Tejaswi. But on the other side, there is not so much, because if there's doubt on Nitish, who could then come in his place?
Yeah.
Because neither...
They had Sushil Modi earlier,
but away. Now neither Samrat Chaudhary or I think Dilip Jaiswal, the state party BJP chief there, or other leaders, Sanjay Singh from JD, none of them have even, leave alone the national presence.
Yeah.
Even they don't have within Bihar, in all the regions, even they don't have appeal.
Yeah.
So they're all have their own appeal in small segments of the state.
That's right.
So therefore they are not larger leaders. So it's going to be a difficult choice for the other alliance, NDA alliance, and therefore I'm not surprised the poll showing Tejaswi on the lead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's very insightful talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.